What's going on, FA Nation? Jon Impemba here with James Grande. Welcome into the Fantasy Line NBA DFS podcast and live stream for Monday's 8-game main slate. James, kicking off the week here. The NBA might be a little bit of a focal point. Obviously, no football this week. The weekend between, the Super Bowl. We have like the Pro Bowl weekend skills competition. The NHL goes on to their All-Star break this week after Wednesday. So NBA really going to be the show in town. So a lot of opportunity for the sport to shine. That, of course, would then require the top players to play when this sport is the only one in town here. For Monday's slate, though, not to be the case. LeBron James and Anthony Davis already ruled out for the Lakers. Luka Doncic missed the other night. Obviously, he's dealing with that injury he suffered 3 minutes into the game. I think it was on Thursday when that injury happened. So he is questionable. Joel Embiid is questionable. OG Anunoby's already been ruled out for Toronto there. And, of course, we're recording here a little bit earlier than usual here on Sunday night. So I am almost positive that there'll be more injury news coming out on Monday.
There will be, for sure.
Regarding some of these players here. So as we go through, just kind of keep that in mind that we're recording here Sunday evening ahead of Monday's 8-game slate. James, top price player on the slate is Luka Doncic, and then it's Joel Embiid, and then it's LeBron James. We know LeBron's not playing. We may not have the top three guys priced out. So that will be certainly something interesting to look at. But that leaves us with three top price point guards as the next three guys here. Kyrie Irving, Damian Lillard, Stephen Curry as your top three guards here on the slate. Really killer performance from Damian Lillard last night. Not killer in a good way. After dropping 60 actual, he goes out there and scores like 3 points, fantasy points at like halftime. I think he finished with 30, 25?
38.
Yeah,
he had 38 fantasy points.
Yeah, tough performance there again for Lillard. He's at 10-7 against Atlanta. Kyrie, in what should have been a great matchup, now I guess maybe even a better matchup for him. Saying no LeBron, no AD. 10-8 for him. Steph Curry 10-5 against the Thunder.
Yeah, I mean, if Luka plays, he's obviously an elite play
Correct.
against Detroit. Detroit can't stop anybody. They lost to a Houston team without their best three players. So
Flashback Eric Gordon performance, That's
flashback Eric Gordon. So what would Luka do to them? Remains to be seen if he plays. Kyrie obviously in a great spot. I think Lillard's in a good bounce back spot, although 10-7 is really getting up there. But good tournament play. I think, recency bias might keep him some people off of him. He was like 27% in that slate on that slate. So like all those people that were burned might just pivot.
He scored 30 actual in this game after really doing nothing in the first half of that game. He just didn't give you any secondary stats.
Yeah, the game was like never. They cut it to like 4 in the second half, and then Toronto just turned on the Jets again. It was like never just really competitive.
Right.
And Dame had a lot of cheap points in the fourth quarter that never got them back in the game. So, did get 30, but disappointing. Steph, I think, is a tournament play. We saw the boom game. He did a little bit of everything here. I think they're getting Wiggins back here. I think Wiggins is off the injury report, so that could take a little bit away from Curry. But, I like Curry here. Honestly, though, John, we talked about it last podcast, and then we talked about it in Discord again, and I tweeted it. SGA has a 40% usage rate and averages 1.7 fantasy points per minute when Lou Dort is off the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Lou Dort's ruled out again. It's another very good spot against the Warriors. I'm just going to go back to with SGA. You can get to all these guys. You can play Kyrie, good spot. You can play Lillard, good spot. You can play Curry, Luka. SGA back to being that dude again. So that's where my money's going to be.
Yeah, SGA is at 99. James Harden with a questionable Joel Embiid at $9,800 here against Orlando, which would be a really elite spot for him. Trae Young against the Clippers got off to a slow start, heated up, went for 53 fantasy points. Another double back-to-back 30-point double-doubles for Trae Young at $9,700. He's really starting to get going, that 9K tier. If Luke is ruled out, though, Spencer Dinwiddie, big price bump up to $8,500, but man's gone for 59 and 57 the last two games without Luka Doncic in the lineup. So if Luka's out, Dinwiddie chalk at 85.
Yeah, likely Dinwiddie chalk, and we've talked about how bad Detroit is defensively. 29th in defensive rating, only team worse is the Spurs. So, um, you know, it was interesting because it was interesting last night because Dallas without Christian Wood and Luka just don't look good. Like
Mhm.
there's value obviously to be had, but in tougher matchups or just like just have low volume guys. Dinwiddie is not that guy. He is going to be a very high volume shooter, and
Yeah.
that's what we saw. Don't be like afraid to if you're playing Dallas and like if Luka's out to only use Dinwiddie, right?
Yeah.
Like don't be afraid to fade those value guys. They're in play because they don't have other people, but like I saw all the winning lineups. Dinwiddie was the only value from Dallas using that, or Dinwiddie was the only play in that on that Dallas team used. So just
Yeah.
something to consider.
Yeah, I mean, you saw Dorian Finney-Smith have like 35 fantasy points, but the odds of him repeating that on low volume shooting, it just it's hard to
Mm-hmm.
kind of anticipate that type of effort repeating himself. And more AK guys here other than Dinwiddie. Obviously, we've been talking a lot about De'Aaron Fox lately. He's got a great matchup against Minnesota. But Chris Paul, I mean, tough spot against
Yep.
Toronto in theory here. But the shot attempts, 18, 16, and 20 in 3 of the last 4 games. That's not typical shooting volume we saw from Chris Paul earlier in the year. Obviously, no Devin Booker, and maybe he's starting to realize that if Phoenix is going to win some of these games here, they need him to be sort of that offensive type of point guard here. 31 actual against San Antonio, 22 and 22 actual against Dallas and Memphis. The only down game really was that blowout win against Charlotte. Down game because he only played 27 minutes. They needed him to play 35,
Right.
38 minutes, he probably would have got there too. So Chris Paul at $8,200, but does the matchup against Toronto worry you at all?
No, not at all. Um, 54 against Memphis, who's second rated defensively in the league. You mentioned the stats against Charlotte,
Yep.
Dallas. Even in a game that doesn't even score 200 points, he scores 50 fantasy points. And then when they need him, because the Spurs cut that, the San Antonio Sohans cut that to,
Yeah.
like they tied the game late. They went to overtime, right? So I think Chris Paul is just locked in, and as long as there's no Devin Booker, like he seemingly is going to be that guy again.
Yeah.
So no, I'm perfectly fine getting to Chris Paul here.
No Anthony Davis, no LeBron James. Russell Westbrook is $7,500.
Prepare for the chalk, right?
Prepare for the chalk Westbrook here for sure. Didn't play like the entire fourth quarter against Boston, but did play the overtime period. Very surprising to see that from Westbrook there. Obviously, again, since AD comes back, obviously you've now seen the points drop off for him.
Right.
Production drop off, but no LeBron, no AD here. You got to think that Westbrook's going to be in full Westbrook mode here against Brooklyn at 75. Another good D'Angelo Russell game. I mean, we're going on like over a week now worth of solid performances here out of D'Angelo, and that's while playing alongside Anthony Edwards, who's having really strong performances as well.
Yep.
So they're not really taken away from it at all. Same matchup we just saw. Do you continue to play D'Angelo Russell now at 7K?
Yeah, and they've won a bunch of games. I think five of six or 6 of 7 total. And Russell's playing monster minutes. He's not coming off the floor. He's making shots. He's just kind of contributing everywhere. So yeah, I mean, we said it a couple times last week. Why not go back to the well on D'Angelo Russell? And he hasn't let us down. So I think this mid tier between Westbrook, Russell, Jaden Ivey, potentially Maxey, like it's going to be a pretty
Detroit going with a
tier.
pretty interesting lineup lately, even with Hayes and Stewart healthy. Both of them coming off the bench. They're starting Sadiq Bey, starting Jaden Ivey, starting Alec Burks at shooting guard. Interesting is the way they've kind of worked that rotation now. It's allowed Jaden Ivey to really kind of take over. It feels like lately in sort of being a floor general. I know the offense kind of peaks up and down a little bit, but the assist numbers are on the rise from what we've seen from him at the beginning of the year. Steals, blocks, last couple of games. I feel like he's probably priced out for me a little bit at $6,600. But I don't think it's terrible. Trey Jones at $5,900 against Washington. I do like that price point a lot for him. I know the minutes haven't been over 30 in a little bit. But if guys are ruled out again for San Antonio, I don't mind it. Fultz little revenge game if you believe in it. We all got killed. We all got killed by Orlando there against Chicago. Second night of a back-to-back, they played 11 guys, and they basically ruined everybody's minutes. The whole starting lineup played like 22 to 24 minutes against Chicago.
Yeah, it's just state of the NBA right now. Like, it's just, we need to get rid of back-to-backs. I don't know how many times people have to there has to be a solution. We either we shorten the season, which I don't think a lot of people want, but I think it could be something to look into. The product is just really bad on back-to-backs. So,
yep.
Barring there's no back-to-back here, I think that Fultz and Cole Anthony both tournament plays, but I don't really think I'm going to get to Fultz at 57.
Okay.
The narrative isn't there for me.
Okay. Schroeder at 54 will be pretty popular. Again, already playing a boatload of minutes. Now the usage is going to spike on him with those guys off. Alec Burks still under 5K. You're going to keep rolling that one out if he's playing 30 minutes a night, right?
Yeah, probably. His night was so weird. He started the game, hit 3 threes, missed 3 threes, like in the middle, didn't make a shot in the second and third quarter, and then hit 3 threes to tie the game in the fourth. And I was just like, what is happening? Alex Burks, like a flamethrower. He was out of gas in the middle of the game.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, under 5K, I'm perfectly fine getting to him for
anybody else for you here at value tier?
Pat Bev played a boatload of minutes.
Yep.
And it makes you wonder without LeBron and AD if they turn to him a little bit more. We've been seeing more minutes lately. 3 of the last 4 at least. He's played 29 plus minutes, including 2 or 3 over 35. So I'd possibly go there.
Unusual scoring efficiency out of him lately. 6 of 12, 5 of 10. Doesn't generally get that from Beverly.
Yeah, for sure. Which is why it's like, I was like, it was kind of like a lukewarm feeling on it. That's probably it. Kendrick Nunn has looked pretty good.
Yeah, he's playing. He's in their rotation at least,
Yeah, so, I mean, I don't think I'd get there. I know Jay Rich is supposed to be back if you want to take a shot there. DeLon Wright plays 24 minutes off the bench. So, all these guys are, they're fine.
Yeah, DeLon Wright in a rare no-steal game after having 3 straight with 3.
Right.
So... Yep, 4,100, not bad. All right, shooting guard position here. Anthony Edwards at 94. Like I said the other day, guy just keeps on rolling. 62 fantasy points against Sacramento the other night.
Yeah, he was the key. He was the key to every winning lineup.
Yeah, yep. Same matchup this time around. So is he going to repeat it? Unlikely, but I mean, 71 fantasy points against Houston, 52, 52, 46, 62. Guy was the top pick for a reason, as we talked about, right? The guy's just out here, one of the top picks, showing why he's an elite play.
You were right when you said top pick. He was.
Yeah. I always forget. I keep forgetting about this draft. It was him and Edwards or Cunningham were 1-2 or different drafts. Different drafts.
Yeah, Cade was the year after number 1 pick.
Right. Anthony Edwards, LaMelo Ball. That was the draft. Cade was the year after. Correct. Giddy can play him.
Wiseman in between those. Wiseman in between those two.
Who? Who's James? What?
Sure.
Dude, remember everybody was like, can you believe the Golden State Warriors are going to have a lottery pick with that team? Well, they blew the pick. There are so many better players they could have drafted. They needed a center. They did need a center, but they blew the pick. They could have had, thankfully, because, I mean, if they actually hit on that pick, the league would be they won the title without him. So the league would be in real trouble if they did better. Giddy, we've talked about. Bradley Beal still at 7,200. I'll just keep firing bullets here at Bradley Beal. Eventually, it's going to come through.
Yes.
Eventually, it's going to come through.
Yeah, you're right. Right? When that happens,
he's not killing you at $7,200. What he's giving you, and eventually, it's going to come through. So.
You're right. One of these days it will eventually come through.
I mean, I don't know. 7 of 5 of 17, 7 of 17, 7 of 17, 7 of 14. No Porzingis again, I don't think, or questionable Porzingis. I don't know. He's better than the
Porzingis off the injury report.
Okay. All right, well, maybe that even helps. Maybe some higher assist numbers. I don't know. I like the number. Of course, you have Poole and Klay Thompson at 71 and 67. A lot of people will play that. Certainly can. No arguments. Gary Trent at 64. No OG's in a really good spot as well. Hoarder at 54. Anybody I'm missing down here?
Can't get DiVincenzo with Wiggins back, I don't think. Diallo, we know, is going to play 20 minutes, right?
Yep.
We've seen stealing, but like 9 steals in the last 2 games. So if he doesn't get those steals, what do the numbers look like? I guess Lonnie Walker. What is he? I mean, he missed a month and played 18 minutes in a turn, but now there's no LeBron and AD. So do we see Lonnie Walker kind of like get a bump, right? Does Lonnie Walker play? I don't know. Isaiah Joe played 21 minutes, only took 3 shots. That was a little disappointing. We were like on him, but someone we had mentioned.
Yeah.
But I don't think there's not like a clear cut value at the first 2 positions. We've still got a bunch of positions to go, but like I feel like usually we've had, especially in the bigger slates, we've had like, yes, this guy is the play.
Wiggins started for Dort, right?
Wiggins started for Dort. Yep.
He's small forward only though. So
yep,
we're getting the small forward now. He's $3,400. So if he's starting again at $3,400 against Golden State, would you play Aaron Wiggins here?
Probably. It's not like I wish I pivoted there on what was that? Friday slate.
Yeah, Friday. Better matchup
because it was just a smaller slate, and I feel like I forced a value play in there when I saw Desmond Bain was ruled out.
Mm-hmm. Did you play Zaire?
I did. So like I didn't need to play. I could have just pivoted to Wiggins, and I didn't. So like he's in play. Mm-hmm. If he's, I mean, like, we've seen this song and dance before. The Thunder rotation is sometimes out of whack, and he might play 18 minutes. Right. But if he starts, like I would probably give him a chance.
Guys that are at the top of the small forward position here, Kyle Kuzma, a little bit too expensive at $9K, I think, for me with 89 with everybody back. I like Scotty Barnes. Again, you can just keep playing Scotty Barnes at this point. He's just, minutes are great. He does a little bit of everything. If he has a ceiling scoring night, you're getting 40 to 50 fantasy points out of him there. So good spot at 76. Keldon Johnson, 34 actual the other day. So again, you picked the right Keldon day in an overtime. Maybe Washington comes through for you at 73. We were playing Bridges for a bit. Again, 41 minutes, aided by overtime there. 25 actual. Cam J coming back, though, starting to. Mm-hmm. And, of course, Chris Paul, offensive resurgence. DeAndre Ayton, right. They're all kind of cutting in to those shot attempts there for Bridges. Boncaro at 68, man. That's feels like a good number against Orlando.
The production has just been down.
Yep.
A little bit lately, so.
Yep, that's fair.
The Magic have a lot of really, like, when you look at the Magic, you're like, oh yeah, all these dudes are like, they're all like rotation pieces everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so I feel like now that they're healthier, he's not struggling, but like maybe hitting a rookie wall, maybe like also realizing that he has like a pretty good team around him.
Yeah.
Not like pretty good team, but like a lot of different options around him.
Mm-hmm. If Bay starting at a minimum at 58. Cam J obviously is 57. Jalen Williams at 53. We keep talking about Sacramento. Harder and Barnes will be good. Keegan Murray, is he a small forward too, or just power forward here?
I think Keegan Murray moved to just power forward only.
Okay. Well, we'll pretty much be playing any of those Sacramento wings here against Minnesota. So, also like DeAndre Hunter back in the lineup, 37 minutes right away. So,
yeah, no time lost at all.
Nope, it was only an illness, but still just out there and ready to go. Denny keeps on rocking. Does the return of Porzingis impact him?
I don't know, because I don't know what they're gonna do. Daniel Gafford had the game of his life the other night.
Yeah, he did.
It broke the slate. So they moved away from that starting lineup. Do they go back to that starting lineup, like just playing off Gafford's previous game? Do they go? I don't know. Denny is. I mean, he wasn't starting with Porzingis out anyway, so you could take a shot at him. Look, I think my stance as of right now is if he's fixing to be chalky, right? If he's projecting early in the day where it's like, a lot of ownership coming into Denny, and then that's the same thing near lock, and like Washington's pretty much a full strength, I'm probably going to fade that situation.
Yeah, I mean, 10, and 9 rebounds, that can be there with Porzingis on the floor?
Right. A full strength team, now like we're putting Porzingis back on the floor. I don't know. Like Finney Smith is could be without anybody. I know he mentioned you don't have to play Dallas, but it is a
Right.
good spot, and there's nobody around. Kenrich 45 is what he is. Joe Harris is a up and down GPP play. Just like if he makes shots, he's good. If he doesn't, it stinks. Josh Green, the same thing for Dallas. He's going to play. Look at the minutes lately: 38, 32, 33.
Yeah.
Another and then you mentioned Wiggins. If Josh Hart doesn't play, Portland's going to start Nasir Little. He played 30 minutes the last 2 games. I think small forward is the place for value for us.
Yeah, I'm with you there for sure. One of these days, our guy John Isaac will play more than 8 minutes. One of these days.
Yeah, he'll play 10. The progression is trending towards 10 minutes the next time out?
10 minutes, 20 fantasy points, 8 minutes, 13 fantasy points, 9 minutes, 12 fantasy points. Over the fantasy point per minute. We know what he is.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Eventually, though. One of these days.
Eventually.
Power forward here. Again, a lot of guys already ruled out. Porzingis at 91, though, against San Antonio. Is he limited at all? Or
I don't know. I want
to play $9,100 Porzingis.
I just want to play anyone against San Antonio at this point.
Yeah.
Find me exposure. I know I just kind of shit on Denny, but that's also if he's going to be.
It's only shitting on him because Porzingis is going to be back. If Porzingis is out again, we would be in under 5K. Denny would be all over that again.
Right.
So.
Right. And likely the public being all over him.
You know where the public's going on the slate is going to be the $4,100 Rui Hachimura.
Right. Against without everyone.
Without everyone is going to start. So
should start. Another rotation. Well, they'll be like Toscano Anderson, get out there, and give us what you got.
Yep.
Porzingis, I don't know if he's going to be limited. It was an ankle.
Yeah.
Missed 8 days, so shouldn't be limited at all.
Yep. Mid-tier guys, I still like Draymond here. I brought it up the other day. 33 minutes wasn't his best game scoring wise. No blocks, no steals against Toronto. More likely maybe to get that against OKC, but 7 rebounds, 7 assists again. So
yep.
Certainly good in the mid-tier there. I guess where else? We already mentioned Cam Johnson, Jalen. A lot of guys were repeated. Keegan Murray at 5K. Didn't come through against Minnesota last time out, but maybe could bounce back. You mentioned Sohan, though. 40 minutes for him, 47 fantasy points, 30 actual.
Yeah, he's awesome. The 3-point percentage is on the rise. The free throw percentage, now that he's shooting one-handed free throws, he's making everything. His 3-point prop the last couple nights has been over a half, and I've been afraid to take it. But I mean, he's hitting. He doesn't. I mean, 3 of 6 in overtime is great, but 2 of 2. It just worries me that he's just not going to take more than a couple. But he is hitting them. So, yep.
And he's hitting his free throws, which is important. So,
like Sohan a lot. I think and he's staying out of foul trouble. Early in the year, he was foul happy, not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
I'll circle back to Jeremy Grant. If Josh Hart is out, I think that impacts Grant.
And Nurkic missed yesterday as well.
And Nurkic. So I think there's positive rebound regression for Jeremy Grant here, 5 and 8 rebounds with Hart out of the lineup, 8 with Hart and Nurkic out of the lineup. We know he's a scoring threat. But I don't think that's a coincidence when you're missing your best 2 rebounders on the floor.
Right.
That Jeremy Grant grabs 13
and
rebounds.
41 and 42 minutes for him too. They just didn't come off the floor.
Portland has condensed their rotation drastically. Nobody is getting minutes outside the starting 5.
Mm-hmm.
So I would play Jeremy Grant. I think we'd have to take a look at Toby if Embiid doesn't play.
Sure.
We didn't really mention Harden, but that's obviously something to consider too.
Yeah, I said no Embiid, Harden, but Harden's been good anyways. So I mean,
right? No, I know, but if Embiid plays, are you playing Harden over SGA, Lillard,
No.
Irving? Probably not.
Probably
right?
not. No, probably not.
So I would consider Toby 61. I kind of like that price. Probably more of a cash game play, but we know Toby has some pretty good upside if JoJo's off the floor.
Yeah, as I mentioned, Finney Smith the 2 games now without Luka. Luka played 3 minutes against Phoenix, 42 and 34 fantasy points in those 2 games. So, again, low floor guy, but if increased opportunities there for him lately, then maybe DFS finds himself. He's taken a lot of threes, 3 of 7, 3 of 10. So outside shootings there for him. Mentioned Hachimura. This is where I think Chalk's going to be. He'll probably start. He played 24 minutes against Boston. I would imagine he gets in the line and plays 30 plus here in this matchup against Brooklyn.
That was going to be my question. What do you think the minutes would be?
I think they're going to give him 30. I mean, you bring him in, you trade for him. Two big guys are out of the rotation now. Like, it feels like he should be moved into that starting lineup. If not, 30 minutes off the bench. Like, you don't acquire the kid, I don't think, for nothing. So, try out for him maybe. Anybody else here, power forward?
Chris Boucher has been playing like decent minutes.
Yeah,
he didn't play as many last game, but 18 plus fantasy points in 4 straight games. We know he's kind of a fantasy point per minute darling when he does get minutes.
Yep. You mentioned Bullock, I imagined already with 35.
No, I didn't, but I mean he's low volume guy, but he's fine.
7 of 10 shooting, 5 of 8 from 3 the other night. Back-to-back games and 8 3-point attempts for Bullock, so. Revenge game too. That's Detroit.
Woo!
Revenge in quotations. He was a former Detroit Piston. All right, center spot here. You've been talking a lot about Sabonis. Needs to give you that monster, basically triple-double to pay off the tag. Hasn't done it in a bit, so unlikely to run it back here for him against Minnesota. Siakam against Phoenix at 96. $100, and that's a big price drop. You got Claxton at 81. Ayton, who I like a lot here at $78, $100. Yep. Could go Gobert on the opposite side of that spot at 66, assuming he is in. He is currently questionable with that groin injury. But again, hasn't cost him to miss any of the more recent games. Where are we focusing in our center spot on the slate?
So obviously, if Embiid plays,
sure.
Against Orlando, it's hard to envision he doesn't
87
have a monster
fantasy
game.
Points against Denver.
Right. Claxton is in a great spot. I mean, just seemingly every night, but once again, Thomas Bryant on the other end of the Claxton minutes here, plus Simmons is questionable.
Yeah.
Feels like anytime he's been questionable, he doesn't play. If Ben Simmons is on the injury report, he just doesn't play the next day. So
yeah, or he's limited anyways.
Or he's limited. So that just bodes well for Claxton just having another monster game on the glass. So look out for that rebound prop there, John, because he's probably going to go over. Ayton's been great. Has a pretty tough matchup against Achua, but those two both, I love both those two going up against one another.
Capella's been good at 6K.
Capella's been great. I've liked what I've seen from Rudy Gobert.
Mm-hmm.
I played him in the Memphis game. Didn't let me down. He had 31 fantasy points, but the 3 other games he has double doubles.
Yeah,
that's frustrating.
Jalen Duran got in some foul trouble against Houston. Only played 24 minutes in that game. I would feel like that would just be closer to the 30 minutes if he's not in foul trouble. Good spot against Dallas, generally either way for centers here, and he's going to be starting again. I'm sure more people play Precious, as you mentioned here.
Yes, agreed. 100%.
So, I'm not saying pivot because Precious has really been good the last couple of games, but we've also seen Jalen Duran give you a 50 fantasy point game this year. So, could just be a way to different exposure to that low center tier.
Yeah, I definitely think it's a pivot away from Precious because he's been extremely popular. No OG, he's going to play 30 plus minutes, and we've seen it. Look at these games where he's played 30 minutes. He has 4 straight double doubles in games that he's played 30. He was a
really good player. He was just stuck behind Bam, and then they traded him to Toronto.
Right.
We actually thought he was going to be their starting center. And then they played Kem Birch, and Siakam all of a sudden was a center, and they just kind of threw everything off. But no, a really good player is the Chewy here at 51. So I agree. Durant to me is the pivot off of him if you want to go a little different. Chalky for sure with the Chewy here. Are you going down Dwight Powell? Does that interest you at all, or? I know you didn't do much against Utah, but 2 good games against Phoenix and Washington.
I'd probably be more likely to play someone like Zach Collins than Powell, just because, your boy Collins is gets in there and just does things.
Yeah.
Whereas Powell might play double Collins minutes and just get in some good cardio.
Sure.
So I'd probably be more willing to play Lyles. What's Is Nurkic on the injury report? Nurkic?
Questionable.
They don't. Yeah.
Eubanks
So
only played 22 minutes though.
yeah, that's true. Was there foul? I want to say there was foul trouble. He might have also just been taken off the floor. He only had 3 fouls. Yeah, like Eubanks low floor play. We didn't mention Thomas Bryant, $55,000.
Well, you mentioned Thomas Bryant.
I mentioned him in passing, not anything like.
Sure, with no AD, no LeBron, Thomas Bryant certainly a guy that could be more in play.
Yeah, because they started AD in the second half of that game, right?
Yeah.
Like they started Bryant and then started AD in the second half.
21 and 19 minutes of the last 2 games are a little like. Yeah, I know
Anthony Davis
is the impact for that.
So no Anthony Davis. Like I'm not. He's not my like.
Is he
going to play
Achua?
Achua.
He's your other pivot off of Achua then here?
Yeah, he's my other pivot off Achua because I'm going like Achua.
If we're building our lineup right now, which we're going to do, you put Achua in at center.
He's the cash game play at center for sure. And then like single entries as well.
Okay. Let's build our lineup. We got Precious in there.
Okay.
Where are we going as our next play here that we were pouring?
So I mean, there's like point guard is obviously like a place of emphasis probably for us, right?
Sure.
Because we have.
I kind of want to just play Kyrie and just lock it in.
Yeah. Do we want to do Kyrie and Chris Paul? Would you also be interested in Chris Paul or no?
No, Chris Paul's good for me. Kyrie, Chris Paul. Kyrie, Chris Paul, Achua is 5,100. We did have a value play that we liked here, right? Wiggins, right?
Yeah, Wiggins is going to play the minutes.
Assuming he starts, but he started for Dort last time out.
Yeah, and you want to play Hachimura 41.
Yep.
So that's an easy value play too.
Yeah. So $6,100 for a shooting guard, forward, and utility.
Oh, that's more than I thought. That's cool.
Yep, $6,100.
I mean, the answer. So like, we'd want to play Dinwiddie if there's no Luka. We don't know if there's Luka or not.
Like we'll be able to play Dinwiddie and have money is left over. If Luka gets ruled out, Dinwiddie in that lineup gives us $5,000 a player for a shooting guard and a forward. So plenty of cash.
I like Clay 67. Who else at shooting guard? Do we like Alec Burks 49?
Alec Burks, yeah, let's see Alec Burks.
He's getting a crap. He's just
a lot of minutes here.
A lot of minutes.
$6,700, basically $6,800 a player for a forward and a utility here. Do you want to do Gary Trent?
I'm not like
Scotty Barnes?
Yeah, Scotty Barnes. Gary Trent's just like so hit or miss with me. And
$5,900 util. Trey Jones, Sadiq Bey, Cam J, Jalen Duran, Killian Hayes.
Schroeder as well as there.
Yeah, let's go Schroeder. We didn't do Westbrook.
We didn't play Westbrook.
Should we fit Westbrook? We can do Westbrook over Barnes.
Yes, let's do that.
Okay, $6,000 forward.
Let's do that.
Sadiq Bey?
Yeah, we both thought at the same time, like, we should probably play Russell Westbrook. He's fine. He's like a very GPP play.
Okay.
Like that, I don't hate it.
Okay. So there we at. Kyrie Irving, Alec Burks, the other Wiggins here, forgetting his name, Aaron Wiggins, Rui Hachimura, Precious Achua, Chris Paul, Sadiq Bey, Russell Westbrook in there. Of course, if Luka gets ruled out, we'll probably figure out a way to fit in Dinwiddie in this one. But that's the lineup. I believe that Ryan Kirksey's on your playbook for Monday. We'll be in the Discord if you have any questions. Stay up to date with all the injury news here. And James and I will catch you guys later.